No. Mà nó Taking to the international finals, stay in hit first.
How much effort Ismail would have likely gone through to be able to reach such a prestigious stage.
Yeah, and the experience just gained from getting to this point alone will be so valuable going forward in their VGC journey. So very exciting. Two teams, like you say, one side of the field, and Kevin got that burst damage, got that immediate threat. And then on the other side of the field, there is a little bit of setup there.
Kevin is semi battle for the first time ever. Cái này thì cái phát này cũng không gọi là không có gì đặc sắc đó, trừ khi nào mà hẹn nhau va chạm, chứ bình thường thì hai người hai player ít khi nào mà đối đầu với nhau nhiều lắm. Standard đấu hạt drum. Vãi, hai bên nó có Usaluna, hai bên nó có Usifu. Hai con, hai ok, mẹ hai team drum.
While Ismail is trying to reposition, get some of those big hitters onto the field, if that lead is kind of what he goes for.
So it could lead to a potential passive stalemate, or at least awkward situation where you need to try to make that read and sort of anticipate what your opponent is going to likely try to explore. But I think burst damage could potentially be name of the game.
Bên này có thể chạy tốc được, team của Kevin chạy tốc được nè, còn bên kia là Hapstrom rồi. Được rồi. Nếu mà Kelvin thì mình không dùng chết drum luôn, nhưng mà cũng phải để counter chết drum nữa.
Utilizing those trick room turns, you kind of want to be able to deny that, so almost allowing the cornerstone to stay on the field while you counterplay the trick room, try and stall it out, is maybe sometimes better. But like you say, Kevin has access to some big damaging Pokemon right from the get-go. The Fluttermane with the Choice Specs item, we all know how powerful that is. The spread damage, Dazzling Gleams can be used to break that sturdy quite effectively, and then you could combine it with something like your own Blood Moon Ursaluna to do huge damage, or even the Urshifu, the single strike variant as well, renowned for the big work that can put in when you bring it to a match.
Yeah, and game one tends to be a sort of scout potential match for most trainers, unless you want to try to go for any heavy reads, which most of the time do not occur unless you feel very confident or there's any sort of obvious pin that you could employ onto your opponent's strategy. So I will be quite curious to see what leads both of these trainers will likely try to opt for. I think you touched on it very nicely. That Ogerpon Cornerstone over on Ismail's side does have redirection. It doesn't have protect, which means that you can't avoid a fake out necessarily so, and you have to potentially risk breaking your sturdy, which could essentially be quite pivotal to your strategy.
Yeah, the one thing that Kevin might rely on quite heavily in some other matches against this kind of trick room core is that fake out, but when you're looking at Ismail's side of the field, has got that Frigoraph, has got the Armatil ability, it is going to deny any sort of priority moves coming onto that side of the field, so it's something that you've got to really consider and rethink about how you would approach stopping this. But we are getting into this game.
Here we go, game one of the junior finals. Let's get
Kevin lead Ogerpon, Blood Moon, còn bên kia cũng Ogerpon và Refract à. Tay ra luôn à.
this turn one.
Ồ, Tara Hypervoid luôn.
Kevin go for that translation on the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Gonna be that normal Terra type, boosting those big normal type attacks. Could be a Hypervoid.
Còn Follow Me nhưng mà Hypervoid thì sẽ gây đam cho cả hai bundle. Usaluna dùng for Blood Moon Study. Nó không phải vấn đề, bây giờ là con kia dùng chích rum dài là bể rồi. Tính sai rồi. Bây giờ là do cái study đáng ra là con weapon kia chết luôn là ngon. Ôi, Usaluna dùng protect. Có speaker shield luôn. Lại follow me tiếp. Rồi. Được. Ok. Tự nhiên tên 2 lại đấm luôn chứ. Protect làm gì để cho nó light skin được. Tiếp dùng follow me để dứt điểm luôn con ấy nè. Dying Gleam không nhiều đam cho lắm tại ấy. Hypervoid. Vì control rồi không chết được luôn. Còn 2 tên chết rum nữa. Usaking. Bây giờ bắt đầu bên này Hypervoid lại nè. Happy Hand. Fairy Graph. Swap ra cũng không là vấn đề gì hết. Gọi ra được. Anomiot à. Emon rồi Incineroar. Ơi, Isamael sẽ Terra Hypervoid. Nếu vậy thì Usaluna bên xài Hypervoid. Choi luôn hả? Phải gì? Speaker Shield. Được coi. Nếu mà predict được Blood Moon vào con NC không. Nó NC trâu. Bây giờ mới căng nè. Nó là phép cao. Tên cuối là phép cao. Phép cao vào con Usaluna. Xong rồi đấm luôn con. Chứ vậy? Cao tơ phép cao. Đúng rồi. Rồi. Hypervoid tiếp. Hay. Mà hết. Tên này hết chất châm rồi. Thua. Xong rồi, hết chất châm rồi. Hết chất châm là team bên này hơn chắc luôn.
but removing the Trick Room setter, so it's no longer an option going forward. The Enamour's coming onto the field now. Kevin hasn't really got the offensive pressure that he would like at this point, because you probably are going to have to let Incineroar or Ogopon go down, maybe even Spiky Shield here, but damage off is all that counts. Big Ivy Cudgel into the Enamour's.
2-hit KO guaranteed, maybe with his double up. Enough as well. Enamour's is down. Kevin is really pushing this momentum pressure straight onto the Ursaluna. Ismail is only down to their final Pokemon as Incineroar actually goes down to the recoil.
Yeah, big attack there, and worthwhile trade-off. There's a Hyper Voice coming out from this Blood Moon Ursaluna. Going to be enough to pick up the remaining health on the Ogopon.
Nhưng mà bên kia còn Ursaluna.
As well as Ismail, but is lacking that Trick Room now to really support that Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Là spin-off nữa, có Urshifu nữa thì chịu.
Ursaluna's HP even further, as well as the light screen no longer now in effect, which will allow Kevin's Ursaluna to deal regular damage, but there's an Urshifu, which is definitely not what Ismail wants to see.
Yeah, perfect combination to come in here with that close combat, and Kevin takes a clean game.
Critical hit nữa.
Game 1 for Kevin Han, trying to push through so they can get that title, and in what was a very direct way to stall out the turns of Trick Room available. It's sort of what we were talking about, Lee. Ismail has that situation for themselves that they benefit more from Trick Room being available versus Kevin's options being able to have a couple of Pokemon that can still operate quite nicely and offensively outside of Trick Room. You got the Urshifu, you got the Ogopon Wellspring, as well as that Fluttermane as a potential threat too.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that Kevin did really well was there mitigate the Trick Room turns, going for those double protects when, you know, sometimes you might think, oh, I'll panic a bit, maybe readjust, not panicking at all, really composed throughout the match, and keeping that Urshifu till that exact moment at the end, getting the really crucial damage off here in this turn 1 with that Blood Moon, taking the Ogopon down to that sash, and meaning that it was be able to kind of be dispatched of at any point after the Trick Room went up, but not getting rid of it too quick, because you can then waste a turn of Trick Room. What I mean is that Fergaraf has to spend a turn really not doing too much damage either, and then it takes that extra turn where the Blood Moon Ursaluna comes on for Ismail and doesn't have the amount of turns that you would normally like to see to be able to utilize it.
And we did see Ismail with a really nice play there, bringing that Fergaraf in order to essentially be immune to that fake out, deal huge amount of damage with that Hyper Voice, but most crucially, it wasn't enough to pick up the double KO when he needed it.
But we are getting into game 2. We are going to see Kevin lead off with that Ogopon and the Blood Moon again, and the same lead from Ismail with the Cornerstone Ogopon
Tiếp.
and the Fergaraf.
Vẫn lít như cũ. Vẫn không thay đổi lít luôn.
So there may even be a scenario that we'll have to see whether the Ogopon is going to be allowed to stay on the field. Kevin figured out that if he at least breaks the sturdy, keeps it on the field, he can sort of minimize that advantage for Ismail.
Yeah, we do see the trustalization from the Blood Moon Ursaluna going to power.
Nếu mà vậy thì kịch bản như vẫn một thôi. Ogopon sẽ follow me. Lần này dùng follow me tiếp. Sau này dùng Blood Moon lên Ogopon. Hả?
Interestingly enough, not even being able to bring it all the way down to its sturdy this time round, as Trick Room has now been set. So the real question is, how can Ismail capitalize off of bringing in the heavy Trick Room sweepers safely?
There is the option here where you could maybe predict a double protect, maybe switch out your Ogopon into that Blood Moon Ursaluna to get it on the field, really punish that double protect, but there's always the risk that Kevin goes for an attack here, and you switch in your Blood Moon on the attacks, taking damage that unnecessarily was needed, you know, and you can try and just get some damage off with the Cornerstone Ogopon, allow it to go down. You're not really taking full advantage of your Trick Room turns, but it means that the Blood Moon, if it is in the back, it's preserved a lot better than it
And you also have to think about, oh, here we go. Actually, it's going to be a switch here, a direct one, and it's actually going to be the Urshifu brought in here. We know it's choice banded. There could be specific training on this Pokemon to be able to take advantage
Urshifu đắt à?
As we are going to see a Hyper Voice from the Ursaluna here, going to take that Urshifu down to about 50% health, do some really good damage to the Farigiraf here. Ivy Cudgel coming out into the Farigiraf, going to do some big damage as well. Not quite enough to pick up the knockout, but the Urshifu gets in, has taken a lot of damage for its trouble.
It has. However, this is really the key moment on how these Pokemon have been trained in terms of their speed. Is this Urshifu really the best placed Pokemon right now? Or was it more so a switch out of urgency in jeopardize the true hard Trick Room sweeper in the back?
Well, we are seeing Ismail react to this with a translation of their own, and it will be into that Dark Terror type Urshifu, boosting those Dark type attacks even further. Will it be able to pick up a knockout before taking another round of attacks?
Nhỏ lú rồi.
For it right now, follow me. Been redirecting any attacks coming from the Ursaluna, but before then, we've got the Dazzling Gleam. Ursaluna does outspeed under Trick Room conditions, does pick up the KO on Urshifu, does not quite do so on the Farigiraf. However, we're in a situation where the resources available for Ismail are starting to diminish.
Yeah, and it's getting really tricky in this situation. This Blood Moon Ursaluna on Kevin's side is just doing so much damage each and every turn. You're not able to kind of get the damage in return, take advantage of these Trick Room turns, but things might change here as we do see the Enamorus introduced to the field.
Yeah, and I think there were 2 more turns of Trick Room still left to allow Ismail to try to capitalize as best as possible. We know this is Choice Specs and Enamorus. Believe it or not, it deals a lot of damage. So this could finally be the moment that Ismail has been waiting for. However, the Ogerpon is still available to allow any redirections of sorts. So it's going to have to really come down to Enamorus whether it can or cannot pick up a KO onto that Ursaluna.
Well, Ismail is going all out with the helping hand to boost those attacks. The Blood Moon Ursaluna going to protect this turn, not wanting to take any damage from this Enamorus. Scout out what it looks into. Same can be said with this Ogerpon, a really smart player here from Kevin. But what has Ismail locked into it is that Dazzling Gleam.
Yeah, Dazzling Gleam.
Cứ đến tên túi là lôi con rùa đó làm gì? Mẹ.
Especially when accompanied by that helping hand from the Farigiraf. However, we do have 1 final turn of Trick Room remaining, 2 turns of Light Screen, so this may allow to get some rotation going in order to further ensure conditions for himself moving outside of Trick Room.
Yeah, we're going to see the Ursaluna switch out. Nice safe switch to that Incineroar as well.
Con đéo phải con rùa nữa.
Going to be able to soak up special attacking answers that the Farigiraf and this Enamorus have. Another helping hand. Take advantage of the last turn of Trick Room here as the Enamorus fires off a Dazzling Gleam, doing huge. Not quite enough to pick up the Ogerpon, returning with a big Ivy Cudgel.
Yeah, huge Ivy Cudgel, but more importantly, huge survival of that Ogerpon, and we do have the Incineroar rotating in, taking a lot of damage, albeit being an Assault Vest variant.
Ivy Cudgel coming out again from the Ogerpon, picking up a huge knockout here, leaving the Incineroar. If it does outspeed this Farigiraf, if it's trying to go for the Trick Room, is going to be able to get the knockoff off, and it is going to pick up a huge knockout.
Huge knockout indeed, leaving Ismail down to their final Pokemon being the Ogerpon Cornerstone. And what magnificent plays coming out from Kevin to have that patience and try to sort of slow down all of the immediate pressure coming out from Ismail and further expire the Trick Room turns.
Yeah, and locking in with that follow me here just to protect the Incineroar, but the battle is cancelled. We have our first Juniors final in the EU 2024 Championships, Kevin Han.
And in what way Kevin was able to go ahead and clinch that title. Huge congratulations. Great masterclass showing and understanding of the team matchups, especially being able to just sail through the way that they were able to via the Trick Room turns.
Yeah, and how phenomenal was the use of that Blood Moon Ursaluna, picking the right times to get the damage off required, being very patient like you say, just massively done to get through those really scary Trick Room turns and denying Ismail the opportunity to get those big attackers in to take advantage of it. But huge congratulations to both our players for getting this far, and what a credible way for us to kick off here in VG.
it's such a great fashion to be able to see both of these trainers do so well for themselves and come to the point where they're on the stage, they are fighting for the title. So huge commiserations to Ismail, but congratulations. I mean, the team is absolutely fire. I love seeing all the various components. However, we do have Kevin, and Kevin has been able to show us why this mode and this archetype really, really works.
Yeah, and I think going straight at it like he did as well to kind of recognize that the Trick Room was going to come out, and I could go down the route of being able to try and counterplay.
Mà đánh bẩn mặt phải Linh. Trong khi Doc Urshifu của má cái win con của nó là Urshifu không cần chích room luôn, má cứ bật room lên xong éo làm được cái mẹ gì, hoặc là chích room đánh mẹ để con Ogapon nó quần cho cây vải.
Yeah, and being able to have that Ogapon wellspring, I feel like is also so crucial for Kevin's strategy there. You have the redirection always available, as well as the spiky shields to further promote the extension of expiration of Trick Room turns. But Kevin has been able to go ahead, run away with that 2-0, much to the impressive stellar performance they've been able to display throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of pleased as well that we got to see the Enamorous. So we haven't seen that Pokemon at all, really. So great to see, and a great showing as well from Ismail. A really tough run into this finals, and a very tough opponent to take. But congratulations on getting to the final. But a massive congratulations for Kevin, who is our new European Juniors champion.
Yeah, Kevin being able to essentially not only outperform every other like high-performing trainer, especially in this tournament, but being able to maybe guarantee travel awards into the North American International Championships as well.
Yeah, that's so true. But Charlie is ready over on the stage, so I'll throw it over to him. We'll be able to get a little few words and inspiration from Kevin after that impressive win.
Pokemon trainers in the venue and at home, your junior EUIC champion, Kevin Hand! Kevin, huge congratulations. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very happy that I was able to win this time, because at previous ICs, I did really well in Swiss, but I got unlucky in top cut.
I see that you were able to go all the way this time. You had your big bears ready to go with Urshifu and Ursaluna. How did you feel when you saw your opponent's team sheet?
I felt very surprised because although, yes, I did prep, some of the sets weren't completely correct.
Right, sure, I understand. But you were able to keep your composure and your calm, and you were able to see it through to the end. Trick Room seemed to end up benefiting you in Games 1 and Game 2. Ursaluna going for those big hyper voices, just like our wonderful crowd here. You must be feeling over the moon.
Yeah, I feel really happy. In Game 2, I was like, well, since last game I double protected, they're not gonna they're gonna switch out one of their Pokemon to get in their Trick Room sweepers safely. So I predicted that, and then just went for a Hyper Voice Ivy Cudgel, and it ended up working out really well.
Yeah, you made such a good prediction there, especially because the game started with a mirror match. It was a run back of the leads from Game 1, but then it took a very different course, and you really wrote that narrative. So congratulations, Kevin. Are there any shout-outs you want to give on this final stage?
I want to give a big shout-out to my family and a special shout-out to my brother, because he helped me prep this matchup the most, and also just helped me the most in general. I also want to give a shout-out to my coaches, Justin Karras, Kylan Van Severen, and Justin Tang.
Thank you so much. Warming words there indeed, Kevin. Absolutely round for Kevin Han, your junior EUIC champion. Take it in, Kevin.
Khi cái tiêu gì sẽ tương bừng.
Our seniors final will be coming up next, and Kevin Han has written their own winner's text.
Thank you so much, Charlie. And like you say, the seniors final will be coming up next. But
Khi cái tiêu gì sẽ tương bừng.
in particular about that one turn in game 2.
40%.
Yeah, things are playing out pretty similar, but just showing how good a trainer
Tăng 8% tỷ lệ bạo kích nếu khi tỷ lệ bạo kích ở từ 70 trở lên.
I'm gonna really punish it, and it paid off.
20% sát thương về
Massive
rệt.
credit to Kevin there. Great to hear from him, and I expect to see a lot more from him in future.
It would be very exciting as, of course, he'll likely go ahead and get further promotion into the seniors division and so forth. So being able to sort of see them in the journey right now and how they build up to it year upon year, season upon season is something truly great, especially in this competitive scene.
This is it. I think the one big thing about, you know, being able to showcase the juniors, showcase the seniors is kind of that starting point for these trainers and where they're going to go, where they end up going, especially when they level up into masters as well. And you think, wow, let's see what they can do against the main event, you know, as you see through normal events. So it's the start of their stories, start of their adventures, and I think it's really special that we can kind of encapsulate these moments here, remember these trainers and see where they end up going after this amazing beginning.
But of course, they were not the only trainers we're going to be featuring. We do have the seniors division trainers, which will be coming up very shortly. But of course, we do have them and the bracket available. Teddy French versus Benjamin Polster, another EU versus NA region battle.
Yeah, another one as we go into the seniors final. NA taking that first one. Can they take the next one? Big task for Benjamin in front of them as Teddy stands in the way. And can Teddy reign in supreme in this next one and take a title for the European region? But you can look at the path that both of these trainers have had, an extremely difficult one. Teddy having Alessio in that first top 8 match, then Mattia Cognetta in that top 4, an incredibly tough opponent, making it through to the finals here, and all that's standing in the way is Benjamin.
Yeah, and I feel being able to beat the previous EUIC champions from previous seasons for Teddy is amazing. You know, what a way to be able to put your stamp onto the competition going into this season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can throw it back over to Charlie because he is about to introduce our seniors finalists.
Here we go, trainers. It's time for our seniors EUIC finals. Please welcome your finalists, Teddy French and Benjamin Polster.
Rồi đánh luôn hả?
Welcome, trainers. Teddy, you've got your Corviknight ready to take flight, and you're going to battle with all your might. How are you feeling?
Good.
Excellent to hear. What are you thinking going into this matchup?
Well, I've got a few plans, but I'm going to have to keep them secret and he can find out.
No, absolutely fair enough. Well, we've got our eyes on everything you can achieve here. Favorite Pokemon, Teddy? Has to be the Corviknight, of course. Benjamin, you've got your Prima Arena there, but are you ready for the EUIC Finals Arena?
Yes, I am. I've with Primarina before, and I won with Primarina before, so I'm hoping Primarina can carry me again.
Fighting words indeed there, Ben. Now, what's your favorite Pokemon?
Farigiraf, not Primarina.
There you go. At least, well, there isn't even a Farigiraf on your team, but Primarina will be there for you. Okay, trainers, it's time to take your positions. Please take a seat. Costa and Lee, that's all from me.
Thank you so much, Charlie, and great to get an introduction to our seniors finalists here. And Costa, what a game we've got in store for us going into this one. Had a quick glimpse on the screen on the stage there of the two players' teams, but yeah, I like the favorite Pokemon again, the Farigiraf from Benjamin. One of my favorites. I like it. Long neck Pokemon. They seem to do well in this format. And the Corviknight over on Teddy's side, Pokemon that he this weekend.
Yes, and I think Corviknight's one of those great Pokemon that have been a bit forgotten this generation, being introduced in the Sword and Shield era, but definitely one that shouldn't be snubbed against having that mirror armor ability, but generally speaking, being such a cute little bird.
One of the Pokemon that Benjamin did talk about was the Primarina. I think it's a really interesting pick going into this finals, and I think something that, you know, Teddy really needs to concentrate on, make sure that you prioritize dealing with, because of the options that it's got there, and the water, the fairy typing as well, can be very, very threatening if not respected.
Yeah, and I think we're talking a bit about the different flow charts, and Primarina does feel like it has that potential of completely being utilized in the right way and necessary support by its side. However, there are always options that Teddy could try to rely on in order to attempt to counteract them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the one thing
Cái
we would
team
really
này
like from the team overviews, as well as the ability for that speed control on Benjamin's side of the field, where Teddy kind of doesn't really have that, relying a little bit more on maybe some options along priority rather than have a dedicated speed control mode. So that's going to be an interesting interaction between both players and how they approach the match.
And Dondozo, as well as that Ting Lu, is the core that we've been seeing resurface in previous weeks and essentially come to the point where maybe it's trying to chase yet another EUIC title.
Well, it did so well at the last year's EUIC championship, so it wouldn't be surprising to see it do well again this year. Both very difficult Pokemon to take down, so the ways in which you need to deal with them, you have to be able to set up some sort of strategy. But the perfect thing, if you look up at the Benjamin side of the field, is has a lot of setup to be able to do that.
10.000 won.
And that's
Có
sort of
30.000 won.
Benjamin may need to try to lean a bit more into the fact that we don't have any other ability that is susceptible to it, that unaware is so crucial for the Dondozo, having Oblivious, allowing it to capitalize off of it.
Yeah, exactly. And we have actually some friends and family of our players over with Charlie now, so we can get a bit of insight from those here supporting these finalists right now before the final gets set up.
It's a real honour to be here with friend of Teddy, friend Chris, and Benjamin's mother, Justine. Starting with you, Chris. Getting a little cheer there as well. How do you know Teddy?
I met Teddy, I would say last year at LAIC. He really impressed me with his play. He ended up being me actually.
Nè,
And I see how hard he works, and it's incredible, and I'm able to be friends with him.
Let's hope that the hard work pays off. Do you think he's got a good chance?
I think he has a good chance. We prepped this matchup so much, and it really doesn't feel like it's in anyone's favor.
That's very exciting to hear. Who knows which way it's going to be. And coming to you now, Justine. So, Benjamin's mother, tell us about how hard Benjamin works.
Sorry, repeat the question.
Could you tell us about how hard Benjamin works?
He works very hard with his team, and this is his first year in competition, and so we're just wishing him best of luck.
That's incredible. First year of competition. That's fantastic to hear. And are you into Pokemon yourself?
No, but I'm very into supporting my son.
That's a very good answer indeed. I'm sure that you will get to know some of the creatures that we have along the way and find your favorite at some point. So, Chris, Justine, thank you so much for joining me. Let's give it up for Chris and Justine and Teddy and Benjamin.
Really great to hear from Benjamin's mother and Teddy's friend as well. Just some insights before we get into the match, of course. Players are just getting set up now, Costa, so we will be getting into the thick of things in a moment.
Yes, we will, and I think we've already met Teddy in our local scene, being able to be one of those ferocious players in the seniors divisions, even taking on masters divisions and proving that he actually has a really good understanding of the meta as well as experience and skill.
Yeah, and this is his last year in the seniors division, so really wanting to make a point this year with the finishes. You can see the accolades here. World's Junior finalist in 2019, then EU Junior Champion that year as well, LAIC Top 4 this year in 2024 season, and NAIC Top 4 in 2023.
However, we do have Benjamin having the top 4 in the 2024 Peoria Regional Championships, whilst also being the Knoxville Regional Champion as well, followed by the San Antonio Regional Championships top 8. So a lot of very recent achievements, just going to show that Benjamin's really on a stride right now of great performance.
Yeah, it's incredible accolades to have in your first year of competing. It is phenomenal to see, and again, another one here at the minimum will be finalist at the 2024 EU Championships.
We will indeed, but we do have the matchups, at least once again, to refresh everyone's minds. We were talking a bit about a couple of key components there. That rookie helmet pre-marina is such a niche but very nice pick, especially going into this matchup. So Teddy's going to have to try to work a way through on essentially disrupting that strategy as best as possible. And I feel like perhaps that gouging fire or even Ting Lu may be able to have some room to do so.
Yeah, and I think the howl on the gouging fire on Teddy's side of the field is definitely a way to help kind of boost the attacking emphasis on his side of the field. But like you say, that Primarina, it has got access to Calm Mind. It does have access to that Rocky Helmet. And with all of those physical type attackers on Teddy's side of the field, it will be difficult to deal with that Pokemon in particular.
It will. However, we do have the list up as well for the team from Teddy's side. Once again, it's going to be the Champ Ting Lu, Gouging Fire, Corviknight, Dondozo, and Dragonite. So a lot of damage potential.
Chim bao Tinh Lu đúng má, chim bao Stella.
That Vessel of Ruin from the Ting Lu.
Yeah, in particular, that's going to be very useful against that Primarina. It has to be careful, but it does have a really nice Terra type to kind of counterplay that fairy damage it can offer. Of course, as well, along with that, the Dondozo, there is ways to get around those setup options on the opposite side of the field with that Yawn in particular. If you combine that with that Sand Tomb move, if you can hit that, then you can trap your opponent in, put them to sleep, and render them pretty useless while you can deal big bits of damage with some of the options on your side of the field.
And in this scenario, you need to actually make sure that you're honing in on the correct Pokemon that you're bringing. Do you try to opt to go for any sort of setup? Maybe Corviknight could have some potential, but that Yawn cycling could prove to be quite crucial.
Yeah, the last year to win big before aging up to Masters. We touched on it a little bit before, but this is Teddy's last year in Seniors before he enters the Masters division.
Yeah, and I think Teddy, like we've mentioned, he's been doing such an incredible job. He is one of those trainers, especially in the UK, that has the greatest potential to be able to take all of these performances and achievements and push through to the Masters division and really make a name of himself.
Yeah, really wants to go out this year with as many accolades to his name as possible. So, see, it will be a big task for Benjamin in front of him, but we cannot forget about the options that Benjamin has at their disposal. Of course, got a really, really strong and threatening team here with the overview of the Primarina, the Rillaboom, Raging Bolt, Iron Jugulis, the Ogerpon Hearthflame Mask, and Incineroar.
Iron Jugulis, not your common pick, alongside Primarina too. The rest of the four, yeah, you totally get. But at least Benjamin has that Fire, Water, Grass core, accompanied by the Calm Mind Raging Bolt, which we have seen has apparently been all the rage, and it has such great potential of setup.
I love this team, I really do. I think if you look at the
Rocky Helmet,
look at the Raging Bolt,
Spet, Iron Jugulis.
there is Sword Stance there. Then you have the combination of the Incineroar and the Rillaboom being used to so much success this weekend in particular, where you have the ability to pivot out between these two Pokemon, utilize that continuous cycle of Fake Out, Intimidate, Grassy Terrain recovery to help these three options set up. And then you look at the Iron Jugulis, yeah, not used too often, but has a great utility with the Tailwind, with the Sunny Day to further boost the Ogerpon as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential of such a great synergy with the team, as well as being the youngest senior international finalist. So a lot of potential, especially today, but we'll have to see if it's going to be able to carry him through to becoming the champion.
Well, we've seen the path that Benjamin and Teddy have to take to
Sunny Day Dương của League.
are very capable players, and I think this is going to be an extremely exciting final. Be interesting to see how both players approach this first game, but we will be getting into it, so we'll shortly be finding out, Costa.
Yes, we will. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're going to try to go with their leads. However, we're going to have to go ahead and check that out shortly. Another first-time clash between top contenders, similar to what we had just before in the juniors division. We are also seeing reproduce again here in seniors.
Yeah, and it's sometimes nicer to not have the rematch in these sort of tournaments, because you kind of know sometimes it's a very quick affair where one player might try and adjust, but it doesn't quite go that way. But it's kind of like a game 4 or a game 5 you're going into, but where we're coming into this fresh set. Of course, these players will have done the adequate preparation coming into this match, I'm sure, But the thing is, it's a different story when you're up on the stage and you've got the lights on you and you're in the moment. It is completely different. So it's being able to handle that pressure as well, deal with it, which, you know, both players will be experienced about. They've been on stream before, so they will be comfortable in this situation. But a lot on the line, of course. That coveted title is what they are playing for.
But what you need to do is get your head in the game. You need to be able to just focus on what is in front of you, take it a game at a time, a subset layer, one turn at a time, and be able to properly analyze
Mẹ nó chứ.
the advantages and disadvantages of it and where your position is on it.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at both sides of the field. We've already talked about some of the stories here. We've got Benjamin, first year as a senior, first time playing as well. And then you've got Teddy, more of a veteran player, very experienced. Kind of like the new senior coming through the ranks against that veteran senior as they are coming to the last year in this age division.
Yeah, exactly. And Teddy does have his older brother as well, Ethan French, well known across the community.
Such
a successful player as well to be able to embark on and learn from, and you know, really push his game even further in order to sort of great success.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the one thing you could say is having those older siblings or siblings in the community as well definitely helps elevate your game. We've heard so much about coaching and how that has helped our players get to these points in these finals. And I think it can't really be understated. A lot of the time you can do so much yourself, but it is really about the people that you have around you and the teams that you have to be able to further make strides in this scene.
Yeah, because VG and just generally Pokemon is such a community game. You know, we may be playing individually, but that doesn't necessarily mean we do not prep individually only. Team building is such a great experience to be able to share between one another in order to go ahead and throw different ideas around the corner, you know, get some understanding around the different calculations that are necessary to sort of circumvent any potential main staple Pokemon currently in the meta.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder if we are going to see that Corviknight as we take a little zoom in from it, one of Teddy's favorite Pokemon. Will it come to this match? I think you made a good call about it being an option here. It does have access to Taunt as well, one really good way to shut some of these options down on Benjamin's side of the field, especially if they want to go for
First time ever.
The problem is, if you do see the Raging Bolt, it's probably not the most preferable Pokemon to have.
Cái đáng coi nhất.
Electric type. And again, with that Ogerpon, probably quite good against the Primarina, though, of course, because it's not really going to take too much damage initially from the attacks that Benjamin has access to.
However, we do have the leads. Game one has just begun. Dondo gouging fire from versus Benjamin.
Ui, bên này có Insi.
Yeah, we do see the Intimidate come out from the Incineroar. It is going to go down onto that gouging fire, low that attack by one stage, but not affecting the Dondozo, the oblivious ability given the immunity there. So
Wake up.
Pretty hard going into this next turn, or even disrupt with something like a Yawn. Has to be aware that there is the fake out from the Incineroar, though, that can disrupt the Dondozo attacking options this turn.
Yeah, and I think we sort of highlighted on it. Yawn could be a very good way to slow down Benjamin's setup strategy.
Protect thôi. Hai tên đồng protect thôi.
In order to go ahead and start getting those cumulatively going. However, that Yawn is such a priority that Benjamin has correctly recognized.
We are starting this with a fake out into the Dondozo, going to prevent it from moving here, and the Howl coming out from the gouging fire, going to boost the attack on it and the Dondozo this turn, followed up with a huge Calm Mind from the Primarina. We're going to boost that special defense by one stage, starting to get set up here.
Yeah, so
Ôi.
we see a double setup situation occurring. Thanks to the Oblivious, the Dondozo
Không xử con kia trước.
Heavy Slam will be hitting neutrally
Giờ đấm được rồi chứ. Chưa. Phải hô thêm ít chứ, phải 2 lần nữa. Mới trả về không thôi.
Whether it wants to go for the disruptive strategy or just full-on damage.
Yeah, and we are going to see maybe an attack into that Incineroar slot, and another Howl coming out from this gouging fire, going to take the Dondozo to +2. The gouging fire will be at +1 now after that Intimidate initially.
Moon Blast
coming out into the Dondozo after the Calm Mind boost in
Party shoot.
followed up by a body shot from the Incineroar. Trying to keep it in check, but removing itself
Ai game này vui nè.
to take any big water type attacks.
You can be only so oblivious.
Đúng má.
Intimidate, parting shot being such a nice little way to circumvent that ability and bring it back down to +1 whilst getting this Rillaboom onto the field. It has fake out. It will allow for further HP recovery over time, as well as being such a great option of a resist to that wave crash.
Play here from Benjamin. Nice damage over to the Dondozo. The grass is great on the field with that Rillaboom, and we are going to see the HP bolster a
Rồi.
little bit further with the leftovers.
Kéo được Rillaboom ra thì con kia đi rồi, Dondozo đi rồi. Một cái win con.
Be able to go into either the Dondozo to slow it down this turn, or that gouging fire to prevent another howl coming out while you try and utilize that arena.
And since it seems like Teddy's trying to rely a bit onto that Dondozo, he does have the option of going for the grass terrestrialization in order to resist any highly offensive grass type moves coming out from the Rillaboom. He's got the options of Wood Hammer if they don't want to opt to go for the fake out. So Gouging Fire, however, is still on the field. It's still in a good place to be able to provide further support. But we do have our first terrestrialization coming out right now.
It will be into the
Fire.
into that fire terror type. So to resist maybe some attacks coming out from the gouging fire here, prevent that, but it does get in a weakness to
Burning Ball
type attacks from the burning ball wall coming out from this gouging fire.
It wants to be able to
Một hammer tắt xong.
Wood Hammer picks up the KO onto the Dondozo. No terrestrialization from Teddy. And all of a sudden you got such a
Khó lắm.
completely knocked out.
And another Carmine followed up with a great turn here from Benjamin, really capitalizing on the fact
Mà cầm mai tiếp.
at the disposal. Risks here, the Rillaboom getting itself into a position where you think, oh no, it's going to be weak to those water type attacks, but disposing of the Dondozo so quickly, put himself in a great position in this match.
Very nice play there as we have Dragonite now on the field. We know this is choice banded. Its potential with outrageous damage output is definitely there. It's going to likely force Benjamin to really need to take into consideration to perhaps bring in the correct Pokemon to get those resists, because Dragonite, especially with this normal Terra potential E-Speed, is going to be such a huge threat.
Yeah, and it's going to be hitting so hard here as we see that normal Terra type boosting these normal type attacks. The extreme speed coming out. Where will it be targeting into? It is the Rillaboom, and it will be enough to pick up a huge knockout.
Huge knockout. The terrestrialization is already gone as an option from Benjamin's side, as well as another fake out user, allowing this gouging fire to go for the howl setup. You thought choice banded normal Terra.
Ủa con Primarina cộng mấy rồi ta? Mùm lát chết không ta?
From the Primarina, going to do big damage in return, but not enough to disband this Dragonite this time around.
And allowing the gouging fire to still stay on the field gives Teddy the option of
Racing Bot.
perhaps still embarking on the house setup. There's nothing necessarily stopping himself. And now that the Raging Bolt is on the field, sure, you got Thunderclap priority, but you don't even have a setup already going, and the extreme speed will be able to completely circumvent that.
Yeah, and the extreme speed now really dangerous at plus.
Đủ mang con chim bao ra để giảm đép tiếp hả?
Dragon type attacks coming out, but you are going to see the Shoulder Rune come out with this Chen Pao, boosting those attacks even further. The Dragonite going to lock into this extreme speed +1 attack. Will it be enough to take out the Primarina? It is!
Of course it is. Primarina is gone from
Xong rồi.
leaving them with his final two Pokemon. The Dragon Pulse, however, is trying to go for the retaliation. Does pick up the KO onto the Dragonite. So one momentum swing to another, and we have both trainers down to their final two.
Yeah, what a great play from Teddy there to bring in the Chen Pao to.
Bây giờ là còn chim bao với lại Green Fire.
Rid of the Primarina that was becoming so threatening on Benjamin's side of the field. Losing it to the Raging Bull, but you feel like an adequate sacrifice in that moment. Now 2-on-2, it's going to come very close at the end play of this game.
And this is going to force a very interesting scenario. Fake Out is on the field. Intimidate has dropped both Gouging Fire and Chien Pao's damage output. So this may lead to a defensive play if you're Teddy, which can also allow Benjamin more room to get a calm mind set up.
Yeah, and that's the danger about Benjamin's team. Going to be able to support here perfectly with the ability to calm mind potentially, especially if, like you say, Teddy does go for those protects, trying to stall out this fake
Protect.
and then wait to try and get some momentum after the fake out has been burned. We are seeing the protect come out from the Chen Pao, and that burning bulwark come out from the gouging fire. Going to be super safe this turn.
Yeah, and because we've got the gouging fire no longer having access to its booster energy, it does mean that Howl will not be able to be set off before the Qian Pao to further boost it. But the Dragon Pulse, the choice from this Raging Bolt, not even going for the Calm Mind in order to at least guarantee a potential Focus Sash break or chip damage dealt.
Yeah, and we are going to see a situation here where if the Raging Bolt does take a double up this turn, it may go down to potential icicle there on that Chen Pao.
Breaking Swire hoặc là hold tiếp.
That protected this turn and utilize the really healthy Incineroar to at least break the Focus Sash on that Chen Pao. And then you've got the Thundercap to take advantage of the next turn and then try and create this 2 versus 1 situation with the gouging fire.
However, we see the protect from the Raging Bolt being well aware of its situation. Incineroar really needs to
Nice cross.
in order to support its partner Giraffe Pokemon there. Protect.
Còn mừng nó phải repeat rồi.
Trying to target down the Raging Bolt in combination with the breaking swipe is really nice touch here. Not only are you lowering the damage output of this Incineroar, you're still threatening this Raging Bolt with super effective damage.
Không chết nè. Ui bên nữa chứ. Vãi lộn à.
Really unfortunate there to get the burn, really nullifying this Chen Pao, but it's still going to be really susceptible to a Thunderclap this next turn from the Raging Bolt. We talked about this, utilizing the Incineroar that turn, protecting your Raging Bolt, putting yourself in this situation where you can get rid of this big threat. Not only that, but you get rid of the sort of ruin ability that is now active on the field.
And because the burn's in play, the Qian Pao can go for only so few amounts of protects in order to circumvent that Thunderclap priority coming out. Breaking swipe will further lower the attack as well as the damage of the Incineroar and deal respectable chip damage whilst being at -1 of its attack.
Yeah, the Incineroar taking that pretty comfortably there. The Citrus Berry activating, getting a bit of that health back, and the Dragon Pulse into the gouging fire, calling the protect on that Chen Pao, and followed up with a parting shot.
Má đang thắng tự nhiên ăn cái bên chí mạng vậy.
Gouging fire even further down in terms of available resource to it, and sort of Benjamin proving that you don't necessarily need to have a calm mind setup with this Raging Bolt. You just need to be able to perfectly position it based on the board state.
Yeah, and we are going to see Teddy lock in with the forfeit there. One to reset, take it to a game 2, try again, but what a masterful game 1 by Benjamin.
Oh, no doubt about it. Being able to go ahead and get that game advantage is so crucial, not only for the actual result, but also mentally speaking. You want to be able to put all of the pressure on the comeback onto your opponent from the get-go. It allows more room for yourself to be able to make that adaptation to any sort of further adjustments that Teddy may need and feel he has to be able to bring.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the way that Benjamin approached that game from the get-go was just so well done. Thinking, okay, well, the Howl's coming out, Teddy doing everything right as well at that point, you know, boosting the attack power of everything on their side of the field. But capitalizing over on the other side was Benjamin with that Calm Mind Arena, really taking all the focus for Teddy onto that one Pokemon, getting some good returns with it as well. Dragonite coming out onto the field, the play where the Chen Pao come out as well, boosting that attack power to get that huge extreme speed off was massive. But you can see here the Dondozo was so threatening early on, those Howls coming out, boosting the attacks, the Oblivious, ignoring the Intimidate. It just felt like the Dondozo was in a position to be like taking over.
It did, and that Woodhammer KO onto the Dondozo really such an important piece to the board. You could have had those yawn cycles going as well as the damage, and Teddy did try to make a really good comeback with the Dragonite E-Speed mode. However, it's the fact that Benjamin still had really good options in the back, just waiting for Teddy's resources to whittle down.
Yeah, and it came down to that kind of a few turns from the last turn where we had the Incineroar taking advantage of the Protect on the Raging Bolt, as that was really drawing in all the attention from the Chen Pao there. You know, the Chen Pao feels like it's in a really secure place with that Focus Sash attack, but as soon as that's broken, it does become a lot easier to deal with that Pokemon. Getting a little bit lucky with the burn, but in the same situation, it would have been there, ready to get taken down by a Thunderclap either way.
Yeah, I feel like Chen Pao would have been forced to try to go for Sucker Punch mind games, but we do have Game 2 of the Senior Asian Championships Finals. Don Dozo and the Ting Lu versus Benjamin's Primarina and the Incineroar, and you once again do actually see the same leads from Benjamin, however, a bit of an adaptation from Teddy.
Yeah, the leads for Benjamin worked out so well from game 1, so no reason to really change things up going into game 2. Teddy adjusting really nicely here with the Ting Lu, bringing this to the field. It's going to give a little bit more security against those big special attacking threats that we see from the likes of that Primarina, from the Raging Bolt as well. Do have to be a little bit careful here because you're not able to get around the fake out so well this turn. But there is the pressure here where you can get a Sand Tomb and a Yawn potentially onto that Primarina, something that Benjamin has to keep an eye out for.
And it's sort of to the point where you're wondering which
Phải cào tiếp.
due to the potential of that Yawn, as we have the Calm Mind set up from the Primarina in order to
Visual.
or should I say neutralize the effects of the Vessel of Ruin.
Yeah, that's going to be big. And no, a Sand Tomb here, just a Ruination taking 50%
Ruination.
of Primarina's health.
Yeah, really nice play there. In order to start whittling down its HP over time, yes, it does have leftovers that it can, it may be able to get access to in terms of the recovery you'd expect from a grass terrain. However, the important thing right now is trying to limit and get rid of every single Pokemon that Benjamin can rely on later on in the mid to end game.
Yeah, and we've already seen one Calm Mind set up, so we know the Primarina is kind of getting ready to start throwing out these Moonblasts. Exactly what we see, but the Ting Lu taking that pretty comfortably, being a super effective attack.
Yeah, that's sort of what Ting Lu does as parting shot, targeting down Dondozo. Now bring it down to -1 of its attack, but most crucially, the switch, the pivot. We've got potential of Rillaboom coming onto the field. We'll be able to super effectively threaten both of Teddy's Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly that, and help recover some of that health lost on the Primarina as well. The Grassy Terrain setting up for the next 5 turns here, and also going to be able to have to contend with a Sand Tomb, and it is a huge miss here for Teddy, not connecting with that Rillaboom as the Yawn comes in and does connect, but as we know with Yawn, it has to take 2 turns to be able to activate that sleep condition.
Hence why you need to get that Sand Tomb off. You're able to essentially lock in that target whilst the user does remain on the field. So that is sort of the strategy it seems like Teddy's trying to rely on. Maybe a bit of an indication that you've got the fast Chen Pao Dragonite mode in the back once you've been able to whittle down all of Benjamin's resources and missions.
Yeah, and he's Ting Lu now in a really awkward position where it's either going to have to Terastallize or Protect or even switch out here, because another Moonblast, if it's left in its current state, will be enough to pick it up, and you really want to try and preserve that ability as long as possible. Dondozo in a pretty comfortable position here. He's threatened by that, that for granted, but pretty healthy at this point, where it can potentially go for a Yawn if it wants to, but not contending with that. Dragonite going to enter the field.
Teddy wants to try to make sure he has that offensive pressure in the subsequent turn in order to threaten that Rillaboom, or even the Primarina. Really nice switch, of course, due to its times 4 resisting
Má và rớt tao chờ gì lại.
wanting to finish the job with that Ting Lu and allow it to open up even more damage potential. However, the Protect proving to be quite crucial.
Yeah, and it is going to give you a
Chính xác hiệu ứng HP.
Another Moonblast, although the thing is, if a double up comes out from the Rillaboom and maybe a U-turn from the Rillaboom here into the Ting Lu and then followed up with a Moonblast, that might be enough, although the Galactic Glide might be just as good an option.
And it's quite important as well, the fact that Benjamin stayed in with the Rillaboom means it was forced to likely succumb to that Yawn. However, we've got the switch up here. Chen Pao is on the field. Maybe a bit of an indication of Teddy really trying to falter through with this Dragonite and pick up perhaps a KO if possible.
Yeah, we are seeing that huge combination come out once again, taking advantage of the Sword of Ruin, the Terastallization coming out from the Dragonite, boosting those normal type attacks. Is it good enough to be able to deal with this Primarina returning with a terrestrialization on the opposite side of the field. The Primarina going for that steel terrestrialization, which is a great call here from Benjamin.
Yeah, it's just going to have to come down to which slot has been targeted. Extreme speed. This is going to be a powerful one if it goes into the Rillaboom, and it does. Doesn't quite pick up the KO, but most crucially has forced the Primarina's hand to have to terrestrialize there. Rillaboom still asleep. Moonblast, however, does break the focus sash on that Chien-Pao, bring it down to its final HP, and all of a sudden we've got a bit of an explosive turn coming out.
Yeah, great turn here from Benjamin, and going for the Moonblast, not into the Dragonite, which is the obvious target, but thinking, okay, if the Dragonite is going to terrestrialize here, the Chien-Pao is likely to come in on that slot. Let's get rid of that. It is one of those sort of ruin Pokemon that can boost and affect everything on the field. You want to disband of the
sleep luôn chứ.
even if the Tinglu stayed out of the field in this situation, you're not losing anything unless it does terrestrialize, but it's worth the risk, and it really paid off here. And the steel terrestrialization to give you the immunity, well, the resistance to those normal type attacks is huge.
As extreme speed is going to pick off the Rillaboom, something that it feels like Benjamin had to forfeit in terms of this turn to allow that Incineroar and the Fake Out pressure to come in for the subsequent turn. Sacred Sword highly threatens this now Steel Terra Primarina, so it furthermore shows why that was such a great switch in from Teddy's side to be able to have that insight into the following turn and the potential forced terrestrialization option Benjamin did opt for.
Yeah, we are seeing the Incineroar hit the field, but the inner focus on the Dragonite denying that Intimidate on this Pokemon, but the Chien-Pao is subjected to that, taking it down to -1 now, and the Fake Out going to be huge here to support this Primarina. Try and remove that threat immediately from the Sacred Sword there and allow the Primarina a bit of room to deal with the Dragonite.
And Teddy's opted to have this sort of split mode of the Tinglu Dondozo and the Chien-Pao Dragonite. But wait, there's no Fake Out. Extreme speed trying to target down the Primarina here. This may be a double up and a KO onto the Prim as well. Sacred Sword does pick up the KO, and that is a lot of momentum lost from Benjamin's side. Terrestrialization option is down. Benjamin
Mẹ quên tụi mắt rồi.
Pokemon as well.
Yeah, Teddy really taking advantage of the potential of no Fake Out here, saying if you don't fake me out, I'm going to punish you. I'm going to go for the Dragonite into that slot with Chien-Pao going down. But a really good trade here. The Dragonite in a great position. Going to take a Flare Blitz for Tribbles from a great Incineroar. Hands on!
No, and no burn from the looks of things. Dragonite just barely surviving on 7 HP. Gets a tiny bit of recovery there, and all of a sudden, we're in a spot where Teddy does still have the Dragonite. He can capitalize off of that damage, and now that Benjamin has final 3 Pokemon remaining, we have the potential of the Yawns being so disruptive to his strategy.
Yeah, they're the players that you can bring to the if you are Teddy. Still having that Dragonite though with the extreme speed. Going to be a real immediate threat here, especially to that Raging Ball. Of course, it does have the upper hand on the priority bracket. After that, the Thunderclap, it will go before that. Initially, you're going to be able to get attacks off into either the Raging Ball or the Incineroar here. The Dondozo is a little bit threatened from the Raging Ball, of course. Doesn't really want to have to contend with those Thunderclaps, but if you lock into Yawn, Thunderclap not really an issue for you because you have to be attacking to get attacked.
And that's sort of the risk of having Thunderclap as your only electric type move when it comes to this set, and you need to be able to completely capitalize off of that. However, the Dragonite actually being safeguarded, swapped out for the future end game scenario. Tinglu will be able to reduce the damage output of this Raging Bolt. However, not going on the offensive, having the coolest and calmest of minds, getting that +1 in special attack and special defense. Incineroar, we have seen, has outspent the Dondozo previously. Tinglu, not quite enough to pick up. Oh, it's a burn! There's another burn from another Flare Blitz. The Dondozo, it has not yet moved. It does go for the Yawn into the Incineroar.
It is into the Incineroar here, but it does leave that Raging Ball unchecked on Benjamin's side of the field, really taking advantage of that, getting the Calm Mind up and becoming a bigger threat going into this next turn. The burn there on the Tinglu really unfortunate as a secondary effect from that Flare Blitz. Trying to get the Tinglu onto the field, obviously give you that the ruin ability to bolster those special defenses against that Raging Bolt, but very stalling a little bit here and putting in an awkward position going into this next turn.
It is going to force the Raging Bolt to go a bit on the defensive, opts to go for the protect, followed suit by the Team Blue. So Dondozo may likely want to try to get that yawn off once again. Fleblitz trying to go and finish off the job when it comes to the Team Blue. And even pop the Dragon if there is any switching, and a bit of a stalemate from this scenario right now. However, the Incineroar will now fall asleep most crucially.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here for Teddy. It gives him a bit of alleviation from that threat on that side of the field, meaning that the Team Blue can potentially get a Ruination off, or even a Sand Tomb off into that Raging Bolt. The Sand Tomb might be quite useful here if you can hit it close, because that residual damage that you're getting every turn can help chip away. Combined with that yawn, you know we'll be going to sleep the following turn, so it is something that Teddy could utilize here before that burn eventually does chip away and take it down.
And it may lead to a scenario where Raging Bolt may anticipate it and try to just focus down with the Raging Bolt. But once again, that allows this Dondozo to get that yawn into it and maybe hope for the Incineroar not to wake up first turn in the next turn in order to pick up the KO. But we have the protect once again coming out from the Team Blue, not allowing itself to go down to that Dragon Pulse, and this is looking like a bit of a pin.
Protecting in the right moment, allowing the Dondozo to potentially get the yawn off, and it's in it, hit to connect with the Raging Bolt. The next turn it will be going to sleep.
Double protects are there for win conditions, and that is what Teddy has identified here quite nicely. However, he does still need to make sure that Incineroar is dispatched of. However, the Dondozo is a bit susceptible to Thunderclap. Most likely, we know Dondozos can take a lot of damage, however, it is going up against that calm-minded Raging Bolt.
Yeah, but you've got to remember as well that Teddy still has the Dragonite in the back, so all you need to do is try and get a little bit of damage onto this Raging Bolt, at least in range of knowing that it won't take it down to the 3-0. Huge potential coming out from the Raging Bolt this turn.
Quite interesting here, maybe anticipating the Dondozo going for the protect as well. Maybe a side play of the Incineroar wake up here. It does first turn wake up. It did try to go for the party shot here. And in this state, essentially, we've got the body press, not enough to get the KO. However, the Incineroar waking up, having a 60-star right here, could potentially change things to Benjamin's advantage.
Yeah, definitely. It does allow Benjamin to have a little bit more wriggle room going into this next turn. You know, now the Raging Bolt falling asleep, so not going to be a big threat at all this next turn. Do have to worry, though, about it waking up at any point, going for that Thunderclap into potentially an attacking Dondozo. But the Dondozo in a nice position here to get some good damage onto the Incineroar. At the cost, though, you're probably going to have to look at taking a parting shot for your trouble, becoming a little bit weaker at the same time.
Mandatory turn off sleep. The Incineroar. The Willow miss from the Incineroar onto the Dondozo Ruination. Targets down the Raging Bolt, will be able to put it into range for a future extreme speed. Wave Crash does pick up the KO. And it's looking like it's Teddy's game, forcing a game 3.
Yeah, huge turn of events here for Teddy, doing everything right, getting a bit fortunate when needing to. Has had a little bit of luck against himself, evening up the tables here. Huge knockout onto the Incineroar, leaving this Raging Bolt the only line of defense left for Benjamin against these 3 Pokemon on Teddy's side. Not 2 now because of the burn chip. The Team Blue done a good job here by allowing the Dragonite to now come onto the field.
Perfectly timed KO there from the burn to allow the Dragonite to actually now come onto the field and finish up this game 2. What a nice way to be able to sort of weave your way through the 2 different modes you've opted for, the Dondozo Team Blue Disruption, as well as that very highly offensive Dragonite and Beatrium Power. No wake up here. Extreme Speed is going to be targeting the Raging Bolt. It's not quite going to be able to pick up the KO, but guess what will? It's going to be the Dondozo, and there we have it. Game 3 is on.
What an incredible turn of events here to tie up this match. Take the field game 3, which is exactly what we want, because this is going right down to the wire at every side of things. Teddy doing so well in that match, dealing with a really difficult situation, bringing it back, clutching it, keeping that Dragon Eye alive as well to the last moment, and needed to bring in, utilizing the extreme speed and closing things with that Dondozo.
And bringing the Dondozo Ting Lu initially straight off the bat, knowing that Benjamin wants to rely a bit on setup, is so nice. We've got this Ruination that just essentially halves the HP of the target. With combination of Santoon, that would have been really nice if it had connected onto the Rillaboom, locking it into its slot. But the Dragon Eye E-Speed just proved to be so crucial.
Yeah, it was really good in the end. And you know, the Dragon Eye, I think the double up there, playing on the fact that Faker was there, maybe Benjamin getting a bit cheeky, bit ahead of himself in that situation and getting punished for it. I tell you, I'm realizing going for the double up there, saying, if you're not going to fake me out, well, I am going to take down the Primarina in this situation. And getting the big return there. You can see what Benjamin was doing because he really played off it in game 1, but Teddy saying, yeah, maybe put out of it in game 1, not going to put out of it in game 2. He's slow, but they're carrying so much work, and a huge critical hit onto the Dragon Eye. They're so close to taking it down. Nearly over onto Teddy, but hanging on and doing just enough to get through this thing.
Being such a pivotal move for Benjamin, getting hits, getting burns wherever it goes, and Cineral has been very well trained from the looks of things, except that when it tries to get the win.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate. Benjamin wanting that to hit because it made much less of a threat. He starts to counter on it, tipping down that HP as well, helping with that at least. Missing, not really great, but you know, you've got to say, you get some, you lose some, and that's just how it works out.
How do both of the players adapt going into the game 3? There's so much on the line, prizes, notoriety when it comes to your achievements, and just generally so much hard work being put into from both these trainers, being able to wrap up
from Benjamin as we get into this game 3, the Primarina and the Incineroar leading on that side of the field, and Teddy leading off with the tried and tested Dondozo and Ting Lu.
Yeah, Teddy's looking to likely go ahead and try to go through with the Santoon Yawn cycle strategy, as long as Benjamin has the potential of getting this setup with the Primarina. So take out the previously seen going through, did target the Dondozo. Yawn on any Pokemon of your team is so crucial. It forces you to either switch out or have to sit in and get that sleep.
Going straight for the fake out though, the Incineroar not wanting to allow a Yawn to come out from that Dondozo as the Primarina starts the setup, going for that +1 with the Carmine and special attack and special defense. It does leave this Ting Lu open to go for an attack, and it goes for it, hitting the Ruination, taking the Primarina down to 50% health.
Yeah, consistently going for the lines that you feel have the highest probability of your success is what is needed. It seems like both of the trainers are doing the exact same as game 2. Maybe Benjamin's side wanting to hold off from the terrestrialization a bit longer, which may prove to be more flexible for mid to end game scenarios.
Yeah, definitely. When you do get to the terrestrialization, you want to have ways in which you can better deal with that Ting power, because as long as that has taken care of, as long as it's gone off the field, then things get a lot easier, especially against a Dragonite that maybe not going to
is going to be the option from the Primarina. It doesn't want to feel susceptible to any sort of ruination or even heavy storm combinations to pick up potatoes that it could do so. But parting shot into the Dondozo. Similar fashion, this may be a Rillaboom.
Yeah, and I think the Rillaboom coming in here is the obvious call. Maybe you can scout that out if you are Teddy to take advantage of this play in particular, but we are nonetheless going to see the grassy terrain set up onto the field, and the Rillaboom here taking a huge ruination for its troubles.
Yeah, not wanting to go for Santoon in case the miss may come back. However, the Yawn is still going to target that. So once again, Teddy recognizing the Primarina's board state, wanting to go on the defensive. This is going to force Benjamin once again to have to consider, is it really worth
Nó còn chim mà đéo đó gì.
or do I have to feel forced to switch another Pokemon in?
Yeah, I feel like it didn't really work out in that game too, so maybe you want to preserve that and have it active. But not choosing to do so.
Not enough at all. 16 HP survival. Double up. bring it down to extreme speed range. But we'll have to depend if we see a steel tail once again.
Yeah, that's the big question here as we go forward. At the cost of taking down the Dondoza, this time the Rillaboom now falls susceptible to that sleep condition after the previous turn at a worthy shot cost, I think. And now the thing is, the Chenpau's not on the field. This is force out that Chenpau. Can you kind of position yourself in a play where you can translate the Primarina? If you have the Chenpau not on the field, you're not really threatened by it right now. Can you go for a move into that Ting loose slot, predicting it to come in? But position your Rillaboom off the field, get the Inferno, actually have to fake out the next turn, or at least have the ability to pressure that slot so it isn't accessing that Sacred Sword straight away.
No switch outs from either trainers. We are going to have that normal Terra Dragonite ready to be unleashed. Just looking left, right, and center for damage. We know that Benjamin is going to be put in a very tough spot right now. However, the immediate adaptation with which Pokemon is going to tear up here.
It is going to be the Primarina, of course, going for that steel crystallization. No switch to the Chenpau here, so no sort of ruin on the field just yet. But the Primarina primed and ready to go, as well as that Dragonite that locks in to the extreme speed. Where will it be going into? It is into the...
Nó không chết kìa.
Hold on, just surviving.
What a huge survival there, showing why sort of ruin could have been the play in the scenario. Mandatory, we see the additional turn of sleep from Benjamin's Rillaboom. Hyper Voice just wanting to guarantee damage here, and the Sand King not only does it come out, it connects onto the Rillaboom and forces it to remain on the field. So Teddy could have even been expecting a switch up in that slot.
Yeah, switch up in that slot would have really punished it with the Sand Tomb, but it is going to continually chip away at the Rillaboom and get past that recovery from the grassy terrain. Now the Dragonite in a great position just to close up either one of these targets. Even with that steel crystallization on the Primarina, it is going to be able to pick up the knockout without the Chenpau on the field because it's doing so much damage. You can see even resisted, going to be able to get the knockout, forcing the Primarina to almost have to protect here, allow the Rillaboom to hopefully go down, and then allow something else like maybe the Incineroar to come onto the field for that line of support to alleviate some of the pressure that is immediate right now.
But the Primarina did try to go on the offensive, anticipating a focus into the Rillaboom slot, trying to pick up a cheeky KO if possible with the Calm Mind boosted Moon. But extreme speed, yes, it does target down the Rillaboom. No protect from the Primarina if it does outspeed and now damage this Ting Lu. We may be seeing a bit of an upset here, but the target is Dragonite. However, it survives.
Another miss.
Really
unfortunate for Teddy, and to get some damage off with the Primarina, really useful into the Dragonite, but a huge survival because it gives Teddy another opportunity to fire off one of these big priority attacks that are doing so much damage each and every turn. The Incineroar now coming back onto the field has Fake Out active, so is going to be able to at least stop the Ting Lu from attacking this next turn.
And Dragonite may even be within range of a Fake Out KO, even not necessarily going for the flinch there, but it'll have to depend. Dragonite tend to be a bit bulky, naturally speaking, in their stats, but being able to at least get this pressure on Primarina, dealing damage, has forced Dragonite to be so low is so crucial for Benjamin's strategy.
Yeah, exactly here, and I think you really want to prioritize keeping that Dragonite for as long as possible. Don't let it go down at any cost, really. So we may see Teddy readjust his board position here. We are going to see a protect from this Ting Lu, and it is going to take and be resisted that Fake Out. Yeah, is it enough? It's not enough. It survives the Fake Out. Yeah, but that inner focus, not allowing it to be flinched. It is going to get the extreme speed off, not into the Primarina, into the Incineroar.
But it does allow this Primarina room to try to focus down and be able to pick up the Dragonite Citrus Berry recovery. However, Hyper Voice is out, and at that range, it will most definitely pick up the KO into Dragonite, no longer being available to Teddy in order to get that burst damage potential out.
Yeah, really taking advantage of the position that he's in. Benjamin able to get another attack off onto the field. The Fake Out pressure enough there to put Teddy off going into that slot with an extreme speed in case of risking going into a protect in this situation, going after the guaranteed damage into the Incineroar here, which makes a lot of sense, but getting punished at the same time, losing the big attacking option that you've got but you've got the Chen Pao to come onto the field now. Has got access to that Sacred Sword, going to be super effective into that now Steel Terror type Primarina.
And Primarina is such a big player from Benjamin's side. You've got the potential of being able to outrightly pick up KOs on both the Ting Lu and Qian Pao as the turns progress. However, Benjamin hasn't revealed their final Pokemon. It is most likely gonna be the Raging Bolt, which is what Qian Pao has been brought for. But if there's any sort of cycling out here, it could be quite crucial, unless Teddy goes for a read of an Icicle Crash into an Incineroar, predicting a Raging Bolt switch.
That would be a big call here, and I think at this moment in these big games, sometimes the big calls is exactly what you need. You're going to see the Sand Team locked into that Primarina. Has missed once, the Incineroar exiting from the field, the Raging Bolt, if it is chosen, it is.
No, Tora.
The field. Are we going to see that Icicle Crash? It's not just a Sacred Sword into that Pokemon, but doing some respectable damage. Forward Trouble taking a Hyper Voice, doing big damage to both the team and...
But the Sand Tomb does miss yet again. Sand Miss is what it has to be renamed to. 1 out of 4 connects over a period of 3 games is not what you're looking for.
Definitely not. So unfortunate for Teddy doing everything right there. Versus the Sand Tomb missing. Really unfortunate. But giving room for this Primarina to sit on the field. So really here, the Raging Bolt coming in now. And the ability now for Benjamin to be able to maybe even switch out the Primarina if they choose to the Incineroar to give space to the Raging Bolt, kind of change things up here to give a different outlet to remove that Chen Pao before bringing the Primarina back in to try and close this game up.
And there could have been a situation where they pick up the KO, but no, the Sacred Sword will be doing so. No switch of the Incineroar there. Benjamin likely wanting to preserve the face out pressure immediately after. No touch from the Raging Bolt either. Benjamin really going in with this play. Dragon Pulse targeting the Qian Pao. It is enough. It picks up the KO, and this Ting Lu has a lot of pulling weight it has to do in order to bring this back. Body press not quite enough to do any sort of respectable damage to the draft.
No, and with the Incineroar, Benjamin steps a little bit closer to sealing this one. So that's what we're going to have to contend with this next turn. Plus, the Ting Lu does have access to protect here, so can get around that the next turn, but doesn't feel like it's got the damage output to be able to deal with this.
It will not, and we see it's been locked in. Benjamin Pasta is your champion of the European International Championships for the senior division.
An absolutely incredible showing from Benjamin. The first year playing live events, having success after success, and now crowned your 2024 European International Champion.
And what a way to be able to do it versus none other than Teddy French in the finals in what was such a nail-biting set between both of them. There were multiple back and forth. Teddy did go ahead and get that advantage. Benjamin, however, did find a way to pull it back from that game 2 scenario where we thought things were looking a bit bleak.
Yeah, the Primarina was the key all the way through that. So well played from Benjamin. Really, commiserations to Teddy. Did everything right. Unfortunate at times, but Benjamin just to get through the threat on the opposite side of the field. Timing the skill characterization at the right time. Dealing with the threat at the right time. And utilizing those tools like the Raging Bolt was so well executed, so well deserved.
Yeah, and Raging Bolt, a Pokemon that you would think would be setup, hence why it's got a setup in this scenario setup used as an anchor point in order to allow it to have that mid-to-end game locked in as long as the Qian Pao was dealt with, and that's exactly what we saw in that ending.
Yeah, I think it might have been a little bit different if you saw some of those Sand Tomb hits.
Yes, now they're Sand.
But incredibly well with dealing with and being able to remove the Chen Pao at the right time, because that sort of rune ability is so impactful, in particular when that Dragonite came onto the field.
Right.
For us, that even further than those extreme speeds were doing huge damage. I think the way that Teddy really utilised the ruination here.
Thôi mất tờ coi làm gì.
That Benjamin made, making sure to get that wood hammer off